Is your family prepared to survive a disaster? In the next few minutes, you're going to discover how you can easily have a survival plan staying right where you currently live that's a heck of a lot better than having a fully stocked rural retreat that you can't even get to when things get bad. In the real world, most people don't have a fully stocked rural retreat they can escape to. And even if you plan ahead and you have your own rural retreat, there's no guarantee that you'll leave in time, or that you'll be able to make it there in a disaster. Your first plan must be to survive in place. But today I want to talk with you about a system that will help you identify and repair the vulnerabilities in your current survival plan, and get even the least prepared family member ready for local, regional, or national disasters in a few short lessons. Here's what's happening. With the real threats of terror attack, natural disaster, economic collapse, or a pandemic, you need to have a survival plan in place quickly that's inexpensive and doesn't depend on relocating or you being around as a leader. We're living in crazy times, and the truth is, the unprepared may not make it. Honestly, I don't know who's in worse shape, people in denial or preppers who have lots of supplies and training, but their plan is just floating around in their head and isn't based on reality. But here's the thing. Back in 2008, I had lots of training and lots of supplies, but a crappy plan floating around in my head that had no chance of working in the real world. I worried every time I went out of town that it would happen when I wasn't at home to protect my family. The problem was, my plan completely depended on me. I found out I wasn't alone. As I talked to other people about their plans, they all depended on everyone being home when it happens. The ugly truth is, most survival plans are a joke. They depend on perfect timing, easy travel, and just don't have a chance of working in a real disaster. There are a ton of well-meaning survival books, websites, and experts out there that have terrific information, but people make the mistake of thinking that reading a book or surfing the web means you've got a workable plan in place. In addition, all of these options miss one of the 8 key factors for helping you create the perfect survival plan. The perfect survival plan should be cheap. Survival isn't a luxury reserved for the rich. Many experts seem to think city dwellers are doomed if they don't have a fully stocked rural retreat to go to. Fortunately, history tells a different story. Plans need to be fast to start. You need to be able to put them into place without a ton of required training, classes, or supplies. Plans need to be compatible with your current living situation, whatever it may be. They need to be easily usable by your family if you can't lead them. Adaptable in case you miss your window to relocate. Sustainable if the emergency is long-term. Reversible if you jump the gun. And written down so you aren't relying on memory when you're operating under stress and without sleep. Does that sound right to you? How's your current survival plan stacking up? Your survival plan should work in real-life situations, including if you find yourself 1,000 miles away on a business trip when it happens, or your kids are on a school trip when it's time to bug out, or when traveling by car is not an option. What if one of your family is injured and can't travel? Or if you have a baby you have to take care of, or an elderly parent that you need to care for when it happens? Or, this is one of the more plausible ones that affects everyone, if the emergency buildup is gradual and there's no clear signal that it's time to leave. This last one is one of the ugly realities of our situation today. Most families won't leave urban areas in time because they can't afford leaving early and being wrong. Why? Because it means abandoning your house, your friends, your job, and sometimes even your family. If you leave and you're too early, can you get your job back? Be thankful you didn't bug out in April of 2009 for the flu pandemic. If you leave too early and can't pay your mortgage, will your bank understand? If you mistakenly leave too early, can't you just hear the laughter of your friends when you come back 1, 2, or 3 months later? But if you try and leave too late, you may have to travel light or not be able to travel at all. The truth is, traffic jams happen when people try and get out of cities. And sometimes the police don't want you to go certain ways, and that may not work into your plans. What I learned is how simple it is to fix even the worst of plans, or create one from scratch. Out of necessity, I got in touch with my military, survival, evasion, resistance, and escape instructors, law enforcement and SWAT friends, private contractor friends, and friends of mine that worked at the Pentagon. In addition, I got in touch with a geneticist who specializes in viruses and pandemics, and a bioweapons expert to pick all of their brains about their survival plans and get help fixing mine. The insider knowledge they shared with me was simply awesome. I didn't need half the stuff I had, and the items I was missing were inexpensive and useful, regardless of whether or not I ever actually had to survive a disaster. To top it off, I'd been confusing survival with primitive living, which are 2 completely different skill sets. I pity the fool who decides to grind wheat and bake bread 21 days into an urban survival situation. That smell will draw the zombies in from blocks away, and hunger will be the least of his problems. The biggest part that they helped me with wasn't the stuff. Actually, most of them thought that fancy survival stuff was just a crutch to compensate for lack of a solid plan. And I realized they were right. They showed me how to ruthlessly go through my plan, find the vulnerabilities, and fix them through proper planning rather than by throwing money at the problem. I ended up with a survival plan that was flexible enough to allow for reality, and stable enough that my wife could take charge if I was unable to lead our family. If you're wondering why I'm willing to share the system with you, here's the story. First, as I was going through this process and talking with my civilian friends, they kept bugging me to pick my brain on creating their survival plan. I was the only person they knew who'd gone through the trouble to contact so many experts and create my own logical written survival plan. I was getting 10 to 20 emails and calls every day on this. I love helping people, but I've got to work to put food on the table for my family too. It got to where I couldn't keep being everyone's survival research department. And I quickly realized that I was either going to have to put together a training system to help them or stop answering my phone. And second, I'll be honest with you. When it comes down to it, I'm looking out for myself, my friends, and my family. It sounds a little selfish, I know, but you see, if, or rather when, there is a catastrophic event, you're either going to be part of the solution or part of the problem. And I'd much rather you follow my program and that you're an asset to my friends and family, rather than a looter that they have to defend themselves against. So after months of brainstorming, more than 30 interviews with numerous experts, masterminding, and a lot of testing, I developed a one-of-a-kind urban survival course that you're going to love as much as the 21,000 other like-minded preppers who have already gone through the course. Using this course, you can sleep soundly with the knowledge that disaster won't blindside your family. The process that you go through will be the exact same process that I went through and that I give to my friends and family, and that more than 21,000 other preppers have used to get prepared for urban survival situations, disasters, and breakdowns in civil orders. Every step has been created with the help of multiple survival experts and is being constantly reviewed by even more. Step-by-step system and expert guidance necessary to create a written survival plan that will stand up to harsh reality. In creating this course, I spent literally hundreds of hours researching what worked and what didn't work in real urban survival scenarios, like East Berlin, Beirut, Argentina, Zimbabwe, Somalia, Rwanda, Yugoslavia, the Weimar Republic, and more recently, Katrina and Haiti. You see, anyone can go watch Mad Max and dream up what might happen, but it takes a lot more effort to actually do the research to find out what really happens when society breaks down and people start going to extremes to take care of their families. More importantly, it takes time to sift through all the opinions and harvest the proven tactics to survive and thrive when disaster does strike. Fortunately, I'm going to show you how you can get access to all of this research in just a few minutes. When you sign up, you won't be alone. I'll stay in contact with you to make sure that you're always moving forward. Included in every lesson is at least one skill drill for you to complete, so you'll make measurable progress with every lesson. In fact, here's a sampling of some of the areas that you'll master. You'll learn why your survival depends on your mindset more than your skill set, and how to train your mind to become your most valuable survival tool. You'll learn how to build a team of like-minded people without compromising operational security. The last thing you want to do is advertise your preparations to your neighbors and make yourself a target. You'll master easy-to-learn techniques for navigating the urban jungle after a disaster, even if you start out 12 miles from home in the middle of blown-out buildings, downtown in high heels or flip-flops. We'll cover how to reunite your family, even if you start in multiple locations, your phones are down, and your primary meeting point is destroyed and hazardous. You'll learn how to force your body and your family to react with stunning speed to threats while everyone around you is paralyzed with fear. And you'll learn shortcut, life-saving medical secrets you can use on yourself and your family when seconds count and medical professionals are nowhere to be found. You'll learn how to know the parts of your city that pose a chemical or biological threat to you on a daily basis, how to prepare for it, and most importantly, how to still sleep at night. Did you know many people who were prepared and survived Katrina in place reported experiencing survivor's guilt within 5 to 7 days? You'll learn how to avoid this crippling condition and keep your mind sharp in times of crisis. You'll learn how to stay invisible in plain sight to protect yourself, both from burglaries now and mobs of hungry looters in the future. You'll soon be able to smell danger in your neighborhood, so you'll have precious extra seconds to react. I'll show you how to get inside the mind of an angry mob of parents with hungry children, so your family is the last one to be attacked and looted. And you'll gain the peace of mind that comes with knowing that your family has a plan to follow if you're away from home or out of action when disaster strikes. We'll cover how to quickly and cheaply fortify your home to protect it from forceful entry and armed attack, and this is important. We'll do it without looking like the neighborhood kook or advertising yourself as a target. As you can see, these are vital topics. I want you to know that I respect you and your desire to not be a victim. And I hope I've shown you that I'm a guy who's worthy of your respect as well. And I hope that you recognize that what I'm offering is not just dead on, but an absolute necessity for you and your loved ones. Most of all, the Survive and Play system is designed so that if the world doesn't go to hell, you won't look back on your life and feel that you wasted your time and money worrying needlessly about disasters that never happened. First, I'll show you why worrying is stupid, useless, and a complete waste of energy, especially in a survival situation. Second, the strategies and techniques that you'll learn will enrich your relationships and be useful every single day, regardless of what happens with the rest of the world. Frankly, you don't need another book where the author wows you with their skills and preparations. What you need is a practical, here's what you do next, set of action steps to complete. What you need is for someone to show you how to quickly get started and then keep teaching you lesson after lesson so you don't get stalled along the way. And that's exactly what I'm going to do as you're going through the Survive and Place Urban Survival course. Every lesson is strategically created in such a way that you'll see rapid results with the program. They're short and easy to digest. Each lesson is 10 to 25 pages in length and contains nothing but meat. There is a very real problem these days with information overload, where the reader simply has too much information to absorb. Each lesson is purposely brief but thorough and gives you practical action steps to take to hardwire that lesson's survival skills into your brain. Every weekly lesson will give you a skill drill to complete at the end of the lesson. Instead of giving you the usual, this is what I've done and here's why I'm so cool stuff, I'm giving you the, look, this is what you do next stuff. Each lesson will give you powerful, yet easy to implement action steps to complete before moving on. And every lesson builds on the previous ones. Early on, we'll discuss some of the basics to quickly establish a solid foundation. From there, we'll move into intermediate and then advanced tactics for surviving in an urban setting. Beginners won't get lost from the start, and veterans won't get bored, as I'll throw in some golden nuggets along the way for our more experienced crowd. It's set up this way so that lifelong military, law enforcement, and preppers can go through the course with spouses who are just getting on board. While most books, ebooks, and traditional training programs pile on a bunch of information and then leave you to put it all together for yourself, I make sure not to set up this training program that way. By giving you information in bite-sized portions for a full 3 months, you'll be more likely to actually do something with the content, and you'll be more likely to see real results for yourself. But if you want to charge through the course all at once, you have that option as well. When you look back after each module, you'll actually be able to see progress by immediately putting these lessons into practice. As you train your brain and acquire simple skills, you'll actually be able to see yourself growing step by step because you'll be following a systematic plan of action. Each weekly lesson is designed to be to the point and immediately actionable. As an example, here's some of what is covered in Lesson 1. Operational security, specifically how to make sure that you don't make yourself a target for burglary now or looting later. We'll also cover reasons to leave urban areas and reasons to stay in an urban area after a disaster, identifying choke points in your immediate area, identifying local terrorist targets and planning around them, and first steps for getting your family on board. You'll get this instantly when you get started below. Everything you need to understand the concepts and get started is included in just a few short pages. The format is simple. Lesson number 1 will explain a basic overview of the concept of urban survival and why you need to prepare for it, regardless of how well stocked your retreat location is. Then we'll take a handful of lessons to walk you through the survival mindset, communications, contingency planning, urban movement during a disaster, operational security, finding and building your team, and bare-bones 72-hour kits. After that, we'll look at some advanced strategies, like mental triggers, survival versus primitive living, and hardening your house. We'll also cover how to make your water last 20 to 50% longer, what to do in pandemics, what to do about chemical, biological, and nuclear accidents and attacks. Hygiene, lessons from Katrina, and disaster psychology. Intermingled throughout the series will be lessons on what supplies you need to have. You'll also get forms and templates for your written survival plan, mental exercises for you to complete, my personal picks for firearms training, knives, and defense sprays, and exercises for you to do with your family. And of course, the student instructor forum will be open 24/7 for you to ask questions, get answers, and help out in areas where you are knowledgeable. And I'm telling you, as a fellow prepper, this information that I'm including in the complete package is what I'm arming my family with and those who are very, very close to me. While you and I probably never met, we are brothers under the skin, and I'm telling you, there's information here that you don't have, but that may very well mean the difference between life and death in a survival situation. As much as you've dug into this topic, some of the most valuable information that I'm going to share with you has been very well hidden, and some of it you just haven't had time to look into or figure out. In addition to being a lifelong prepper, I've been incredibly fortunate to be able to spend almost all of my waking hours researching, interviewing, training, and testing since late 2008. But you don't have to. I'm offering you a shortcut to the information that maybe you could find out if you had access to the same expert sources, time, and money that I've invested to compile and test all this vital information. In fact, I'm going to give it all to you on a nice, shiny silver platter. Now, I need to let you know, your survival could depend on your next choice. We're living in some of the craziest times in history, and many experts agree that it's not a matter of if, but when you will face an emergency that is beyond what you and your family have prepared for. There's a famous truism among instructors getting soldiers ready for war. When the bullets start flying, you will not rise to the occasion. You will perform half as well as you did during your best training. As you go through these 12 modules, you could use my step-by-step guidance to train your mind into the most effective survival tool you can own. Or you can stick with your current plan and hope that your family rises to the occasion when their lives depend on it. You're probably thinking, I know I need to do this. One of my favorite authors, and I'll talk about him in the course, studies denial. It's a cruel mental condition. You see, the denying person knows the truth on some level, but experiences constant anxiety because they refuse to address it. Simply denying a threat doesn't relieve the subconscious mind of what it already knows, and the only way to put your mind at ease is to consciously identify, face, and deal with reality. And I'll walk you through this process in easy bite-sized chunks so you can face your fears about survival and have the peace of mind that comes with knowing you're prepared. Remember, you risk nothing. What's more, it's 100% guaranteed.